Hello and welcome to my review of the Tuff Precision Press in Tumbled Titanium. I found out that there are not too many reviews about this pen online, at least on YouTube, and probably because the pen is so expensive and not a lot of people want to spend over $100 on something that they haven't really held in their hands to get a feel for it. I decided to buy the pen because a local store of mine had it in stock. I got a feel for it and I instantly fell in love with it. I fell in love with the weight, the feel, especially the feel of the Tumbled Titanium. Has a naturally sticky feel to it. I can't really explain it, but I love that feeling. It has the same feeling as my ZT 452. I believe it is called, but that's also in Tumbled Titanium and it feels great. So it was easy for me to make that decision on this. When you buy the pen, at least when I bought the pen online, it comes with its own little carry case, shipping case, whatever you want to call it. I call it a cigar holder, or if you want to put batteries in there, you could do that. If you want to put some whiskey in there, you could do that. It might taste really horrible because I don't think this plastic is food grade. Pass that on the design. It looks like a normal pen. Tuff Riders being a well-known tactical pen brand, the Precision Press doesn't look like a tactical pen. It has some nice ergonomic features to it. It doesn't look like a classy pen at all, but it doesn't look overly tactical either, and I really don't like that about a lot of the new pens coming out today that just look overly tactical. Sometimes you just want a nice looking writing instrument that you can also use as a self-defense tool if you need to, but at the same time you don't want it to look like every other normal regular pen out there. And that's what I like about the Tuff Rider Precision Press. It strikes the balance between tactical and normal. Moving on to materials, like I said, this is the Tumbled Titanium, grade 5 titanium. Everything from the tip to the clip is titanium, except of course for the O-rings, the screws, the click mechanism, and a little spacer inside, which we'll get to as well. And onto the clip. As you can see, my clip is not there at the moment. In fact, I cut the clip off. If the clip were to be there, it just sits just like that. It's a good spot. It doesn't look terrible, and the only reason why I took it off, hopefully the camera can catch what it looks like before I cut it. The only reason why I took it off is because I fidget, and this is how I fidget with my pens. The grooves over here kind of make that really easy to do, and that is impossible to do with the clip on because it completely covers that area. Now you might be asking, why didn't I just leave the clip off and not cut it? Well, the problem with that is when you remove the clip, the two holes where the screws go into go all the way into the body and into the click mechanism area. You can actually see the click mechanism. So I don't want dirt to get in there. And I can't just leave the screws, because if you tighten the screws down all the way, it interferes with the mechanism and the pen won't work. And if you just back the screws off just a little bit, eventually they're going to back out, and I don't feel like having to Loctite the screws, and it's just going to look really awkward with the screws just sticking out like that. So Tuff Rider, if any of you guys are watching this, I would really appreciate if you guys made a little spacer or a filler piece so that we could screw on there for people who don't really care for the clip like me, or for people who do care about the clip but want something shorter. I'm sure you can make something that kind of comes up to here instead. Moving on to ergonomics, it is a very comfortable pen. It has some weight to it, even though it is titanium, but that's good weight. It is a little bit more top heavy. They do advertise as being more concentrated toward the tip. Unless you're holding it more upright, you're not really going to feel that. The balance point is right around here on the first O-ring, so it is a little bit more top heavy than usual. But it is a very comfortable pen to write with. I tend to have a really death grip on my pens whenever I write, so my hands get fatigued a little bit quicker than most, and most of the fatigue is coming onto my thumb, and now especially on the tip of my thumb because of these O-rings. It's nothing too uncomfortable. You will get used to it. but because they are raised and it is something that you're going to be holding on to, it can get a little bit fatiguing. You can definitely hold it from here. There's no comfort issue holding it a little bit higher or even a little bit lower if you even write like that, but it's just something to get used to. Not a huge detractor. It is not entirely uncomfortable. Just know that when you are writing with this pen with your thumb on the O-rings, it is going to provide a little bit of a pressure point. Obviously, if you're wearing gloves, that's not going to matter. Moving on to function, the Tuff Writer proclaims this pen to be very, very smooth, and it is. However, when I first got the pen, the click mechanism would stick all the time. It wasn't terribly unreliable, but it didn't give me the result that was advertised as being a really smooth, clickless mechanism. I was a little bit disappointed about that, so I took the pen apart, and you can see taking the pen apart is not the easiest thing to do. Actually, I have to use my pliers, and that's going through 2 layers of packing plastic wrap. I don't know what you call that. So as far as user maintenance is concerned, it is a little bit more difficult when you're trying to take the click mechanism out because it is Loctited. You don't really need a Loctite this because it's steel on titanium and steel on titanium galls, which is why on Sebenzas, if you are familiar with Sebenzas, the screws, they have you really have to torque them off to get them off because the steel on the screws kind of binds to the titanium on the knife, on the frame. Same thing is going to happen with this, so it was pretty difficult to take out. But once I did take it out, I just put a tiny drop of ballastol on the raceways where the bearing travels, and that completely changed the function of the pen, made it way smoother, way quieter. I'm not having any issues clicking it on and off, in and out, upside down, sideways, whatever, which I was having problems with before I did that. As far as that little backspacer in the pen, and you do get a Fisher Space Pen ink cartridge in black. That's the little piece I was talking about. It's a plastic piece with a little metal screw, obviously as a spacer for the ink cartridge, because you're not going to have enough room. Obviously you might have to take it out if you're going to use a longer ink cartridge, but Fisher pens are usually a lot shorter. And it does make a difference depending on which way you put this. I found out that if you put the metal piece towards the click mechanism like that, it's going to be a lot smoother, a lot more reliable, and a lot more quiet. As far as using it as a defensive tool, you have those grooves and they provide a really good ergonomic point for your fingers to lock into. It makes no difference whether you have the clip on there or not in order to keep your hand where it is when you're striking at an object. I actually did try that. If your hands are sweaty, regardless if you have the clip or not, your hands are still going to slide off. But you're not just going to hold the pen like this. So when you strike an object, you're going to brace your thumb against the click mechanism. That's going to give you a better way of puncturing anything, and it's actually going to keep the pen in your hand a lot more secure. It's not going to go anywhere if you do this, rather than if you just hold it like you're going to punch something. Pros and cons. I do love this pen. I do wish for the money that it came from the factory lubed up. When I did take the click mechanism off the pen, there was some rust in there because of that little screw in the plastic backspacer. I do expect a little bit more out of a pen that I paid $200 for. The regular precision press models go for about $185, $195, the aluminum ones. I don't know if they're going to have the same issues, but on a pen that you're spending over $150 on, or even over $20 on, I expect it to be, especially with their marketing of how precise they are, that the pen comes out of the box, smooth as advertised, rust free, and just good to go. I did not really feel that way when I first bought the pen. I was really disappointed that the click mechanism wasn't as smooth as advertised, and that's a big deal to me. You're paying all this money for something that is marketed as being precision CNC machined out of 416 stainless steel, made in America, and next thing you know, it's hanging up every single click, and it's louder than a 99-cent ballpoint that you're going to buy from Staples. Their click mechanism is marketed as being the best out there, and I believe it is. It is going to be the most robust. But when they compare it to the Schmidt click mechanism being an off-the-shelf mechanism out there, well, the Schmidt is still the quietest and the smoothest operation mechanism out there for a clicky pen. And that's because they are probably using brass, and they do coat the brass in electrolysis nickel, making it a lot smoother, a lot more quiet. But this definitely is not smoother or quieter than the Schmidt mechanism. You could hear that. On the Schmidt mechanism, you can't hear that. But this is way more durable than the Schmidt mechanism, I believe. I mean, being 416 stainless, you're not going to really argue that point too much. Pros of the pen: it's a good looking pen. I like it because I could fiddle with it. It's really comfortable to do that. It's really comfortable to write with. It looks good, and it's not gonna make you look like a tactical nerd, if you will. It's a normal looking pen, and that's what's great about it. Hopefully this was a good review for you guys. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. If you liked the video, give it a like, give it a share. And that's the Tuff Rider Precision Press in Tumbled Titanium. Have a good day.